This Tuesday, people in Alaska, Wyoming, and Florida head to the ballot box for key primary races. Should be interesting.
Absolutely, especially Florida.
Yes.
Arguably the center of the political universe this week. That includes the governor's race there. And Congressman Byron Donalds, the Republican we speak to so often on Bloomberg, leads the pack right now. The Republican side is up about 34% according to polls. And he's with us right now. Congressman Byron Donalds, welcome back to Bloomberg TV and radio. We usually don't get to speak on a Sunday morning like this. We're talking about our pets and our families today. So we'll try to keep this as positive as we can. But the fact is, Congressman, your races get pretty chippy. James Fishback has accused you of things that I'm not even going to mention on the air. Is this the ugliest race you've ever been in?
Probably the ugliest, but we've always just stayed focused on the voters, making sure that we talk about the issues they care about.
Yeah.
And so in this campaign, we're focused on the affordability issues in our state, from property taxes to property insurance to even how much it costs to build housing. We want to streamline the government operational side to get down the cost of construction. And the last is healthcare. We have a policy, your doctor, your price. We want to post the top 20 services at any doctor's office or any hospital and post a real cash price for those services so people can make an informed choice, an informed decision about how much they're going to pay for the health care that they need. And so these are the tools we believe are going to continue to drive ways to stabilize pricing in Florida, push down costs for the people of our state so everybody can afford the Florida dream into the future.
So, Congressman, the messaging and media race is on as well as we count down to the primary this week. You put out a Get Out the Vote video yesterday. Let's share it with everybody.
Asking for your vote. We want to keep the Florida dream alive and well and build on the success of Governor Ron DeSantis to take Florida to a whole nother level.
On that, you have gotten an endorsement from President Trump. Do you see yourself as continuing the legacy of Governor DeSantis? And why hasn't he endorsed you?
Well, look, I think Governor DeSantis has his own reasons, and we look forward to being able to earn his support in the general election. But the point of this entire campaign is that the Florida dream is that idea that's ideal. It's what people keep coming to our state for. People are leaving blue states, they're leaving other states because they just want a common sense state that is going to support law enforcement, make sure they have a healthy, clean environment, and that from a business and economic side, they have a low tax, low regulatory state that just makes sense, that allows people to just shoot for the stars and build their dreams. And that's the state we want to continue to have. Governor DeSantis has done a tremendous job leading Florida, and we're going to be building on his success, just like Governor DeSantis built on the success of then Governor Rick Scott, who has endorsed me to be the state's next governor. And so in Florida, we really have a continuation of great leadership. It's taken us to where we are right now. My mission is to build on the success left by Governor DeSantis and take Florida to a whole new level.
Okay, so why, though, hasn't the governor endorsed you? It sounds like you want to continue some of the programs he's been doing, so it sounds pretty friendly, but why hasn't he come out and put his support behind you publicly?
Well, listen, endorsements are things that are personal to everybody. They have to make those decisions in that time period.
Do you take it personal that he hasn't?
No, not at all. I don't take it personal at all. We've been focused on talking to the voters and really taking our message to the voters. And so at the end of the day, the people of Florida will decide who's going to be the Republican nominee. And like you said at the top, in 79 days, who's going to be the next governor of Florida. Yeah. We anticipate to have the governor's support when we move into the general election. But right now, people of Florida are going to be voting. Election Day is Tuesday, and I'm excited to have their vote and support.
We'd love to walk through a couple of issues with you here, Congressman. When you were with us on Balance of Power in Washington a couple of weeks ago, we talked about data centers, and I'd like to get to your bill because this is a topic coming up every day here. But I'm compelled by the fact, and we talked about it that day, that you're going through this campaign without a debate. You explained to us that was based on your monster lead based on polling here in the race. But is this the new normal, Congressman? We all watched President Trump make that same decision during his campaign. He cruised right through the primary process, of course, won it. Do front runners have a duty to debate the people challenging them?
Well, I think if the campaigns are very competitive, then of course you debate and you go on that stage.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys put the graphic up at the top of this segment, not me. You see the delta. And by the way, when they were talking debates, it was much broader than before. It was 40 points and higher. And so at that point, why would you elevate somebody who hasn't shown an ability to elevate themselves? And that's really what this is more about. In the general election, I look forward to debating David Jolly. I've already challenged him to 3. He hasn't really responded. Something tells me we are going to get on a debate stage. I look forward to that because it's important for the people of our state to see the contrast between my policies and my vision for the future and somebody like David Jolly, who's going to bend the knee to the Democrat Socialists of America. That's not what the people of Florida want. They want a Florida that continues to be the free state of Florida. And I think when it comes to debates, every candidate has to earn their way on that stage. There are no freebies here. There's no gimmies in politics, just like there's no gimmies in life. And I think if races are close, and when I say close, and 20-point difference, 25-point difference, when they're close like that, yeah, then get on the stage and debate. But if somebody's so far behind that they really get elevated by you going out and putting them on stage, at that point, then you're just giving them a participation trophy. And I don't believe in participation trophies. And quite frankly, neither do conservatives.
Yeah, I guess, but we have seen people who have maybe been in a stronger position get up on a debate stage with many others and not do well.
Ask
and
Joe
so,
Biden.
right. So, isn't it fair for the people of your state to kind of just see everybody together on the issues and then make their choice?
Well, you actually make a great point. And this is what's different in campaigns today versus, my wife and I just saw a photo from election night back in 2012, the first time I ran for Congress, and I ran unsuccessfully. The difference between 2012 and today is that with social media, candidates have an ability to get their message out. They have an ability to just go into any room.
Well, I would argue
in
that
that district, they can Q&A, they can do all that
I
stuff.
would argue they have the ability to control the message. That's a very one-way street there. I mean, yes, you can get people respond to it, but it's different when you're communicating back and forth. We talk about as an organization and just in the news world that people don't debate like they used to. And I think it's a healthy thing to get different opinions up on a stage and kind of hammer it out.
I'll give you a quick example. When we do events, we obviously there's an opening speech, but we open up the floor a lot. We post Q&As online. We just let people come and ask whatever question they want. So you have the voter coming in and asking the things that are important to them. And through that process, you get to see if a candidate really knows what he's talking about or if he's just trying to filibuster through the question. And so, I think campaigns have changed with social media. There are ways for you to be able to resonate with the voters and get that information out to voters for them to come and find a candidate and really do their due diligence on somebody before they choose to support them. But when you're talking about going on the debate stage, if you're in single digits and somebody's up 40 points, really all you're doing is elevating somebody who hasn't demonstrated the ability to elevate themselves. That's like going to do somebody else's homework for them. And I just don't think that's what campaigns are about. Campaigns are competitions. They're not charities.
Yeah, interesting. I think it's a really fascinating development in the world of electoral politics.
Yeah.
Let's get to the issues then, Congressman. I know you want to swing at a couple of these, and I'm going to start with gas prices. You're at $3.86 in Florida, which, by the way, is quite a bit better than the national average, still hanging around $4. We talked to a couple of Republicans at the end of last week who were a little bit worried about the president's remarks about gasoline when he went on the road, and I just want everyone to listen to what he said, and we'll have you respond. Here he is.
For you to pay a tiny little bit more for your gasoline, just remember, you're doing it so that a very evil country cannot have a country. Really, it's the #1 state sponsor of terror in the world. We don't want to have them have a nuclear weapon. So remember that when you have to pay a little bit more, you're at $4. It's okay. I mean, it's I'll never apologize. I did the right thing.
These are, of course, kind of two different conversations here, and we can get into the war with Iran if you want to, Congressman. But is that the winning argument here, the short-term pain, long-term gain? Because, of course, there are people in Florida who feel like it's not just a little bit more, it's a lot more. We're coming up from gas with a 2 handle, and now we're looking at something near 4.
Well, listen, I want to see gas prices lower. I definitely want to see diesel prices lower.
Yeah.
But the president does make a salient point here. The Iranian regime are quite frankly, they're waging economic war against the rest of the planet. It's not just here in the United States, it's in Europe as well. And they're doing it for one reason and one reason alone, because they want nuclear weapons. They want to continue to be a theocratic dictatorship that has their terror front groups that operate all across the globe. They have killed our soldiers in the past. They have weaponized and killed many of our soldiers in Iraq during that long conflict. And so the president knows that if they have a nuclear weapon, they will be able to quickly get more economic leverage on the rest of the world. And you can't have a dictatorship like this have such control over world oil markets and more. And so, yes, it is a temporary situation, and it's hurtful when people go to the pump. I totally understand that. I filled up myself and I looked at the prices. But we're going to have to balance our way through this. You can't let the Iranians have a nuclear weapon. And I think the American people, we want to make sure they fully understand that the Iranians are messing with the Strait of Hormuz on purpose because they want a nuclear weapon. They want to continue to have terror plots all across our globe, and they want no restraint. And they are basically closing the straits to put pressure on Americans and Europeans and people all around the globe because they still want to chase their Sharia law, their global jihad. That's what they want. And the president is having to stand up to them in a way no American president, quite frankly, has had the courage to do so.
So on those higher gas prices as a result of the U.S. war with Iran, we mentioned earlier, Congressman, that you do have President Trump's endorsement. In May, he posted that you are a total winner, continuing that you will fight tirelessly to help keep our borders secure, stop migrant crime, strengthen our military, protect our veterans, advance American energy dominance, cut taxes and regulations, promote made in the USA, and defend our always under siege Second Amendment. He doesn't, though, mention affordability, and it's something you certainly hit on regularly. Is there any daylight between you and POTUS on this issue and the president?
No, not at all. I think the president obviously is focused on his job and his duty as commander in chief. And those are the main issues when you're looking at the United States overall that we have to make sure that we maintain. In Florida, my job is slightly different. In Florida, we have to make sure that the people of our state can continue to afford the Florida that they chose to live in. And that's why we're going to reform insurance, the regulatory side of our markets, to push costs down 20-25%. This is why we have a property tax amendment on the ballot. Whether it passes or fails, we're going to bring our Tax and Budget Reform Commission in next year. It's in Florida's constitution, and we have a goal of eliminating homestead property taxes once and for all in our state. If that does not happen, we want to target that relief to seniors on fixed income and to working families in our state to make sure that they can still afford our state and build the Florida dream. And it's also about our kids. We have a Launchpad initiative. We want our kids who are not going into the university system, if they're not going to FSU or UF or the University of Miami, we want them to be able to get an apprenticeship or an internship before they graduate high school so they can walk across that high school graduation stage into a high-paying job so they can begin to build that Florida dream for themselves as well. And so my responsibility as the state's next governor is to make sure that government does its job, from everything from insurance to health insurance to making sure our kids are prepared for the future. And President Trump agrees with all those, but obviously he has a much more national and international focus as the president of the United States and as the commander in chief.
Well, Congressman, Carol keeps talking about President Trump's endorsement. No one's mentioning Nicki Minaj endorsed you last night. That seems like a lead story to me. Is she on the campaign trail for you or what?
Oh, well, it remains to be seen. Like, first of all, I'm really thankful to Nicki Minaj. We did not expect that one. That was not on the bingo card, but you know what? You take support where you can get it. And so I'm very grateful to her. And listen, I just want people to go to the polls and vote this Tuesday. And again, and then they're going to have to go back to the polls. I mean, look, Floridians are going to have to choose. Every election is an election about choices. And we want to choose to keep our state as the free state of Florida. We want to choose to make sure we remain the #1 state in America. And you don't stay that way by electing people like a David Jolly, who would make us more like New York and more like Illinois and more like California. We love Florida, and it's going to remain this way.
Yes.
Thanks, Congressman.